20 billion pickles a year, 9 pounds per person. Americans eat more pickles than any other preserved vegetable. You bite into one. Crisp, sour. That jar's been at room temperature for 18 months. Same crunch. But here's something that might surprise you. Most of those pickles have never been fermented. The sourness comes from vinegar. The crunch is held together by calcium chloride, the same molecule they spread on icy roads. And one number decides everything, pH 4.6. Above it, the jar isn't safe to sell. Below it, it can sit on a shelf for years. This is how pickles are made, from something once alive to something engineered to never change. Lower East Side, Manhattan, late 1800s. Jewish immigrants from Eastern Europe carried a tradition across the Atlantic. Cucumbers packed in wooden barrels with salt, garlic, dill, and water. No vinegar. Vinegar was expensive back home, so they used plain salt brine. That substitution created the kosher dill pickle. By the 1920s, more than 80 vendors lined a single block of Essex Street. Locals called it Pickle Alley. A nickel got you one, eaten on the sidewalk, juice running down your wrist. Each barrel held the same recipe: salt water and thyme. Lactobacillus, bacteria living on the cucumber's skin, fed on the natural sugars and released lactic acid. Slowly, the brine turned sour. Slowly, the environment became hostile to every harmful organism. That's fermentation. And for roughly 4,000 years back to the Tigris Valley, it was the only way to make a pickle. Then America needed something different. Products that could ship across the country, sit in a warehouse, survive any season. Fermentation took weeks, and every batch came out different. Vinegar changed that. Acid on demand, consistent results, total control. Heat processing sealed the jar. Shelf stable. Predictable. Nationwide. The cucumber entered the factory fresh. It came out in a sealed jar, and the bacteria that once created the flavor didn't come out with it. Here's the thing nobody tells you. A fresh cucumber arrives at the plant still wearing field dirt. Size: grading drums roll it across mechanical sorters. Too small, too large, misshapen, bruised, gone. Only the right size moves forward into industrial wash tanks. That wash doesn't just rinse off soil. It strips away lactobacillus, the bacteria living naturally on the skin, the same organism that would start fermentation if left alone. The factory washes it off on purpose. When you're filling 250,000 jars a day, you don't gamble on wild bacteria. Clean cucumbers drop into brine tanks. But this isn't the salt brine your great-grandmother used. It's distilled white vinegar, water, salt, garlic, dill, and mustard seed. The vinegar delivers acetic acid instantly. No waiting weeks for bacteria to produce lactic acid on their own. Within hours, the pH drops below 4.6. That number runs the entire factory. The FDA classifies any food above pH 4.6 as low acid, the zone where Clostridium botulinum can grow. Below it, botulism can't survive. That threshold is the legal line between safe to sell and dangerous to ship. Every jar gets tested, every batch gets logged. But sourness alone doesn't solve everything. There's still the crunch. When cucumbers pass through pasteurization tunnels, heat breaks down pectin. The compound holding plant cell walls rigid. Without intact pectin, the pickle goes limp. Nobody buys a soft pickle twice. That's where calcium chloride comes back. You heard it earlier. The compound they spread on icy roads. Food-grade calcium ions bond directly with pectin chains, reinforcing the cell walls so they hold firm under heat. Iowa State Extension puts it plainly. Calcium chloride firms the natural pectin of the vegetable. FDA, WHO, European Food Safety Authority, all approved. That crunch you hear when you bite into a Vlasic, that's calcium chloride doing its job. Now the cucumbers are acid, stable, and structurally reinforced. Volumetric piston fillers pack them into jars with the brine. Vacuum, seal capping machines pull the air out. The jars roll through a pasteurization tunnel one final time. And that pop you hear when you twist open a pickle jar, the one everyone thinks means fresh, it's not freshness. It's the vacuum seal confirming nothing entered from the outside since the day it left the line. After pasteurization, every living thing inside is dead, beneficial bacteria included. The jar is a sealed, sterile, shelf, stable system. sorting, washing, vinegar, calcium chloride, pasteurization, vacuum seal. All of it for one purpose. So a cucumber that crunched today crunches exactly the same 18 months from now. Pick up a jar of Vlasic from the room temperature shelf. Brine's clear. Label lists distilled vinegar, pasteurized, sealed, shelf-stable. No live cultures. Every jar tastes the same as the last. Now walk to the refrigerator and grab a jar of Bubbies. Brine's cloudy, lactic acid from live lactobacillus still at work. Ingredients: cucumbers, water, salt, garlic, dill, spices. No vinegar. Shelf life 4 to 6 months. Refrigerated. 2 jars. Both say Pickles. Completely different processes. Here's the one that catches most people. Claussen sits in the cooler, right next to Bubbies. Shoppers assume refrigerated means fermented, means alive. Flip the jar. Ingredients: cucumbers, water, salt, distilled vinegar, sodium benzoate. Claussen's a vinegar pickle. It's refrigerated because it skips pasteurization to stay crisp, not because it's fermented. Refrigerated doesn't mean fermented. Here's where the story flips. By now, you might be thinking vinegar pickles are a shortcut, a lazier version of the real thing. They're not. Vinegar pickling solved a problem fermentation never could, delivering a consistent, safe, affordable pickle to 330 million people without refrigeration, without seasonal variation, without a single batch going wrong. McDonald's alone buys about 54 million pounds of cucumbers every year, most from Michigan. Every crinkle-cut slice on every Big Mac has to crunch the same. Any store, any state, any season. Fermented pickles can't do that. Every barrel turns out different. What happened to the American pickle wasn't a scandal. It was a trade-off. The label says Pickles. The factory decides whether bacteria were involved. Try this. Next time you're in the pickle aisle, check where the jar sits before you read the label. Room temperature shelf, vinegar, shelf stable. Refrigerator, possibly fermented, but only possibly. Flip it. If vinegar's on the list, it's a vinegar pickle, cooler or not. Fermented pickles list cucumbers, water, salt, garlic, dill. No vinegar, no preservatives. Cloudy brine means lactic acid. Clear means vinegar. Neither one's wrong. The difference isn't good versus bad. It's knowing what you're eating. Next time you open a jar and hear that pop, you'll know it's not freshness. It's a vacuum seal saying nothing got inside. Next time you bite down and hear that crunch, you'll remember there's a molecule holding the cell walls together. And next time someone says pickles help your gut, you'll know the real question. Which shelf was that jar on? The pickle didn't change. The system around it did. Shelf position, labels, the convenience of room temperature. Erase the line between a living food and a preserved one. What we lost wasn't the product, it was the distinction. 20 billion pickles. Same crunch, same shelf. But now you know what got washed off before the cucumber entered the factory and what got sealed inside instead. That's the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there's something you'd like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.